Everybody, Jason Burmis here, and yeah, the updates keep coming. The misinformation out there is huge, and what do I mean? Well, just yesterday, the Daily Mail was saying, hey, this woman is over on the East Coast, right? And now we have pictures of her where? No, she's over on the West Coast. Now, that's not to say that both could be right or both could be wrong. What do I mean? Well, first of all, it's the New York Post. I'm not saying they didn't get confirmation there, but if the Daily Mail is going to run the kind of stories they have, and we're going to show you those stories, it's really hard to say. For instance, let's just start here, and then we'll flesh our way out, guys. So it's reported by the New York Post that Ghislaine Maxwell, who now by all means needs to be arrested, has all of the focus on her, unless she's already working with the feds, and that's why this isn't happening. However, I'm not sure that that's the case. So before we even say what she had, I want to go over all the stuff before that, okay? So there's an extensive piece out there where she's 57, takes this guy, he's denying it, and he leaves his wife and I believe 2 small children for her, okay? I mean, he's saying no, he's saying they were just friends, etc., but what kind of friend comes in and your family moves out? Now, does that mean, I mean, she's 57, he's in his 40s, there could definitely be some backdoor financial and, how do I say this, social climbing shenanigans, networking shenanigans here at play. And if she is connected to quote-unquote intelligence, not just Epstein, and again, all those people trying to say there is no intelligence connection here, well, come on now. Here's the bombshell that you just can't make up, okay? What is she reading? Oh, she's reading the Book of Honor, The Secret Lives and Deaths of CIA operatives. All right, so now let's examine that. And obviously she's not happy. This is an almost 60-year-old woman. She's a monster, by the way. She deserves to be taken down for her crimes. Absolutely, 100%. I'm not going to sit here and defend anything here on her. Now, what does this say? First of all, it's undeniable that obviously she may have an interest in her father's work, as I've said time and time and time again. When you're a guy like Maxwell and you're a Mossad asset or an informant or an operative, there's a good chance you're also working with other agencies, including the Central Intelligence Agency. I mean, just look at the microcosm inside the states for those that cross-worked with the FBI and the CIA. It's all over the place. All over the place. And on top of that, we know of the documentation that Epstein had to become or gave information to the FBI, with a lot of it blacked up, with Robert Mueller's name on it. So here's where we're going to go into wild speculation, and I'm full disclaimer here. Let's pull it on back. Full disclaimer. I don't know if this is real. This could be a whole lot of Johnny nonsense that is circulating the internet. Okay? This is one of those things that I'm not saying one way or the other is true. However, enough people have now contacted me, said that there were years of reviews under this account. Okay? She is reading the book. We also now know through these the document dump, which, by the way, we've got even more information other than the Maxwell stuff we're going to be covering. And we're definitely going to be covering this person, Emmy Anderson, in a moment. But in the document dump, we do find out that he was ordering books on how to create sex slaves from where? Amazon. Makes sense. I mean, everybody uses Amazon. So now what I'm about to show you, again, full disclaimer, does not mean this is her. This could be a complete 4chan, 8chan, LARP hoax, yada, yada, yada. I would have just called it a hoax 10 years ago. But now there's so many words for it, I don't know what else to say. So here we go. Are we going to read it? So apparently this is a review for the book from a G. Maxwell. All right? So once again, I'm not saying this is real. Man, I can't put too many, there's so much disinfo out there. I can't put too many disclaimers before we read this. A good friend of mine died recently under very tragic circumstances. Some of us saw it coming for quite a while, but it was still a huge shock when it finally happened. I picked up this book at the advice of a friend and absolutely couldn't put it down. I'd read it walking the dog, getting fast food, or even just lounging around the house. It helped me realize that my friend really believed in something, and that giving your life for the CIA, NSA, FBI, Mossad, or other intelligence agency is truly a higher calling and not something to mourn. A wholehearted recommendation. I can't say, I mean, it's posted on the 15th when the pictures come out, when she's eating at fast food. I mean, it's so convenient. And I mean, so many people want this to be true, guys. I don't know that it's true. I need a whole lot more information out there. I mean, they even had the dog in it, right? She is walking the dog. She is at the fast food agencies. You know, people have talked less about the NSA and more about MI6. So that may be a clue to the slip up in this. But I had to put it out there, okay? It's just too much. I don't believe it. I'd need a ton more confirmation. But I felt like, you know, when people are going to cover this, they're going to cover it like it's bombshell news or absolutely real. I think it's bombshell news that she's caught, first of all, on the other coast when she's been reported on the East Coast, letting you know there's disinfo out there right away, okay? And that she's actually reading that book. I mean, is that book on purpose planted? By the way, I also want to point out, okay, so that's up there. Here's another little clue before that's totally fake. When she's reading this book, she only has this much of it read, okay? It looks like she's got, and it looks like she's reading that book, she's got 2/3 of it left, right? Think about that. She's got 2/3 of it left. Is she going to read that on the same day? I don't know when these pictures were exactly taken, but I would imagine in quick fashion, maybe on the 14th. So if she read all that in a day, that's a pretty thick book. Putting it out there, watch the disinfo, have discernment, guys, okay? That's all I can say. All right, let's get to some of the other nitty-gritty. It's now coming out again. I told you that this guy was barely serving any time. If he was serving time, there's 2 different investigations into the Palm Beach Police Department, and now it's coming out that, of course, Epstein spent time alone with young women in the prison attorney room. Huh. Remember when he had his own office and he would go see his attorney, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Come on. Come on. So I also want to point out this woman named Emmy Anderson, who's now, about to get questioned. She's 44 now, or now it's Emmy Taylor. I'm sorry. I don't know why I called her. Oh, I know, because I have a great sponsor out there. I don't want to blow up her spot, but she's great, and she, supports this show, so thank you. No disrespect, I'm trying to switch those up. Emmy Taylor, okay? So I want to point out here, you look at this, and now she's going to be questioned. She's been named a lot. And, we talk about, the Miami Herald. We talk about the Daily Beast, and they've done great investigative work to flesh this story out, to get so many other people talking. But we really have to say to the Daily Mail that they were really one of the forefront organizations that was paying for real information, in my opinion, and breaking this story. So what we're looking at is the entire 2024 page dump. Now, if you watched my interview with Derek Brose, we discussed how a lot of this stuff had already been out in the public, which is true. So when you type in Emmy, right, the first thing that comes up is this article here, okay? Well, if we go back here, and by the way, Yoda, thank you very much. When the Empire is hunting and you got the munchies, Yoda, you're so, what are you? Yoda smokes 420. He loves it. Hey, we appreciate all the support here. So, yes, take a look here. So there it is. There's the actual article. Let's go back and forth. So you can still, if you Google the exact title on that, this was around in 2011. Now, what becomes interesting with this document dump is this. Let's keep going down. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about court documentation. Now we're talking about people's depositions, et cetera, et cetera. And there's plenty of it. You can see 47 times she's mentioned. And only, 4 or 5 of those are in that original article. So there's a lot to dig through here. So there's a lot more information, which is good. And that's why police are getting involved. So I think this is a huge win to get this information into the public eye. And just like I said, Guthrie Roberts herself, she has always said she never alluded that she slept with either Clinton or Trump. That was never in the mix. I want to point that out. So I also want to point out that a week later, they can't put together the basic facts of this guy's death. I mean, it stinks to high hell. We've covered it as ad nauseum. The whole thing is absolutely ludicrous. Overtime guards, falling asleep, no camera coverage whatsoever, just off suicide watch. We still don't have that report. Who okayed that? Whoever was who was managing that watch after the first attempt. That his cellmate had just left also. That he had been in there after that first suicide attempt. I mean, it's pretty wild, right? Yeah, it is. I wanted to point this out. Igor Zimonov, he's like old school MMA. And he was a bodyguard for Epstein. I have not looked at whether or not he is in these documents, but let's go do a quick, not a deep dive, but let's see if Igor is in here. Let's see, that's Agorius. Here, we'll do it together really quick. But the story he used to tell and the story he does tell now, vigorous, invigorating, vigorous. Doesn't look like Igor is going to be in these documents. Interesting. But he wasn't working for Epstein at the time of these allegations. He was actually working with him right around the time of the law enforcement getting involved. See that right there? In 2018, he was one of the drivers or 2008, I'm sorry. He was one of the drivers that was taking him back and forth from his work release program. And back in the day, he talked about all the young girls around Epstein, and he was quoted as saying, "So many times I tried to stop him." I should stop doing a bad hackneyed accent. I try to tell him my opinion about that. He don't listen to me. That's the reason why I'm not working for him no more. He said during a 2015 interview. Okay? Now, he's retracted that. Now he says, I never see teenage girls in my life at his house. That's what it is. That's a misunderstanding. Probably doesn't want to be questioned. He probably doesn't want to be questioned about his possible questionable behavior. A lot of these people aren't saints, guys. So the media is trying to run with like this also. Oh, it's Ghislaine Maxwell at a photo shoot in American bikini, etc., etc. This is all distractions to me, but it also shows you how they were able to recruit these young girls and say, look at all these connections we have to the art world and the modeling world. You have to understand that. It's extremely important. And I think that we all knew that Ghislaine Maxwell was, or not Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm sorry, that Virginia Roberts Giuffre, she was the daughter of, if you read James Patterson's book, which I did, what is it called? I can't even remember. Filthy Rich. Right? That's it. And let's make sure it's Filthy Rich. James Patterson and Filthy Rich. That's the if it's been around since 2016. Filthy Rich. Yes. It's the Epstein book. And he alluded to the fact, some people said he was working for Trump, et cetera, et cetera. So it looks like with Trump giving this guy a written letter assigned to him, thank you for your service, et cetera, he may have been that valued employee that once he found out that it was his daughter, he stopped his relationship with Epstein. And that is, that seems pretty real. There seems to be a lot of information out there. I know there's different information that it may have been a business deal over a large piece of land in a mansion that Epstein showed him and tried to bring him in on, and he believed that Trump had gotten backers behind him because he didn't really have the money, et cetera, and we've covered that as well. But guys, again, the wackiness continues. We are in cartoon world. She's found at In-N-Out Burger on the other side of the country, and she's reading this book. And again, I'm highly doubtful, about 95% sure that that's a hoax. the Amazon review. But who knows? You never know. I'd like to see more evidence. That being said, guys, I'm doing 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 videos a day, around 30 videos a week. We did an outstanding interview with Patrick Henningsen of the 21st Century Newswire yesterday. I encourage you guys to check that out. We're at the forefront of Epstein. If you haven't seen Bill Gates Wants to Block the Sun, well, I suggest you go check that one out too. Geoengineering, bioengineering, transhumanism, the Bilderberg Group, Bohemian Grove, Nexium, and a whole lot more. So if you're new to the channel, now's the time to thumbs this up, share it, subscribe, become a member of the Burmese Brigade, and ring that bell, as well as, you guessed it, try to support me financially. We got 2 days left on this. I started on the 17th last month. I just checked it out. So that means on the 18th, I'll be starting a new one. We actually might make it, or at least come close, which I really appreciate. We're already super close. We're a little more than 4/5 of the way there. But that's how I'm doing this. That's how I'm bringing you videos 7 days a week. And by the way, guys, I'm going to be going on the Tinfoil Hat podcast to do an all Epstein episode today, which I assume will either be out tomorrow or later tonight. Maybe, I think, Saturday at the latest. So I'm really excited to be doing that. And I will also be, I believe there's Caravan to Midnight and Arc to Midnight with John B. Wells. That's coming up this weekend. And then, everything goes well, I might be on there again. I think they already booked me for another 2 spots. So it's really exciting to get more and more people involved in this and a bigger and larger audience. And it's all thanks to you. So guys, I really appreciate it. And I will see you all on the flip side.